It is so fascinating to watch Tim Pool try and make his like sort of culture war argument based upon the box office of movies at this point. Like,
yeah,
how many times does this premise have to be disproved that there is some cultural shift happening by virtue of movie to movie that you perceive? Like, they think all movies are all woke.
It's all a referendum. And like, I don't understand how they can say, and he's about to, rip into the Marvels for not doing well at the box office. And yet they were bitching all summer about Barbie, which made $1 billion+ and talks about the patriarchy. That's like the central premise.
To be fair,
yeah,
we did do about a half a dozen videos and stories based upon why Barbie's success was indicative of a fundamental realignment in culture.
Things are changing.
Oh, actually, no, we didn't. But I give you Tim Pool. Whoopsie.
The Marvels movie meltdown. Ladies and gentlemen, the MCU is dying. It may be dead. Man, a lot of people have told me that they stopped watching after Avengers Endgame in 2019. But let me tell you this. Get woke.
Pause it for 1 second. Listen, if you are in a position where a lot of people are telling you what they're doing with the MCU, then I suggest that maybe you should be spending your time in other circles.
All right. Yeah. Well, I don't watch a lot of Marvel. I don't love Marvel, but I understand that Avengers Endgame was like a multi-year culmination and crossover event. And it was like the third film of all of those Avengers movies? Fourth, whatever, but it was the finale, and like Tony Stark dies in that movie. Sorry, spoiler. Like it was right.
Whoa.
It was,
I watched it. I watched it because I have a 10-year-old son.
Yes.
And I will tell you, horrible.
Yeah, I like the standalone ones, like some of the Captain Americas,
There's
some of the Iron Man.
Captain Americas.
Yeah,
and,
Black Panther's
Black
great.
Panther's good.
Yeah.
But I will say, like that Avengers thing was literally one scene redone over and over again.
Yeah.
And it was just garbage.
And then they throw a joke in. But like the reason that it's not comparable to the pinnacle of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is basically because Marvel's been on a very steady decline since that period, because they made a bet, Disney, that they'd put out a superhero movie every 3 or 4 months and it would make a ton of money for them. Yeah. And it's so saturated and no one gives a crap anymore because the major story has concluded.
It's almost like you can saturate the market with an already infantilized genre of film. But anyway.
The Marvels movie meltdown. Ladies and gentlemen, the MCU is dying. It may be dead.
Sunday.
Man, a lot of people have told me that they stopped watching after Avengers Endgame in 2019. But let me tell you this. Get woke, go broke on a massive scale. And for those that don't care all that much about Marvel, bear with me. The segment is not so I can break down the finer workings of a superhero movie. It's to talk about how they are destroying American culture, why they're doing it, and what is actually happening. It's quite simple, my friends. When you try to shift the culture instantly, it doesn't work. And that's what we're seeing. Activists and cultural Marxist revolutionaries in these industries, and there's two big factors here, because I don't want to bury the lead. One,
oh my God.
Cultural Marxists over at Disney.
Revolutionaries over, yes, at Disney. Boy, this is the way that we're going to do it. Listen, we can do good and do well by doing good. Mm-hmm. And that's how we put out these blockbuster movies.
Yeah, Bob Iger is greenlighting the Communist Manifesto as a film coming up next year, 2025.
He's got this weird affectation these days.
I would tell if the cultural Marxists that are inside these operations are listening, I would just say, can you do something about how you are working with the Pentagon to the tune of billions of dollars in military equipment for filming these things?
Oh, you don't understand the long game. Go ahead.
Activists and cultural Marxist revolutionaries in these industries, and there's two big factors here, because I don't want to bury the lead. One, ideologically driven people who are like, I'm tired of white men. And two, people who are like, there's a bottom line advantage if we can market to more people. But it does not work. Here are the results.
What?
MCU posts lowest box office opening ever at $47 million. What went wrong? Now, you may be saying, but Tim, $47 million is a whole lot of money. No. Yo,
Just one note on Tim. When he's like being really sort of expressive
Bombastic?
and dramatic like this,
Yeah.
it means he's talking completely out of his ass and he's just selling the tone of his voice.
Yeah, I feel like he's studied certain like cable news monologues or something
Limbaugh.
like that. Yeah, maybe it's Limbaugh. But like I'm trying to look up, Black Panther also made $1.3 billion, one of the most successful. Okay, right now it's sixth in terms of Marvel box offices, and behind like the other Avengers games, which are those crossover ones, are ahead of it.
Yeah.
Black Panther is that a part of the woke agenda, or was that just a good wokeness?
R.M. Brown, who's been on this program before, covered this very well early in the week and pointed out that, and I don't know anything about these movies. I'm 34 years old. I don't watch them, but and I don't have kids. But he pointed out that this movie is like a culmination. I think maybe this is what you were saying earlier, but like you have to have seen a whole bunch of these to be able to follow along with this film.
No. This Marvel's one is you have to have seen the freaking TV shows
Right, exactly.
on
Like
Disney
Mrs.
Plus.
I would say maybe that is a
Yes.
better reason
But-
for
but
nobody
Yes.
going
Let's
to this.
say, like even
the
getting to
anti-white
that
agenda.
level,
Yeah.
even getting to that depth of analysis, his entire premise is just absurd. That the reason why Disney puts out these things is to have a cultural revolution is absurd.
Yeah.
These movies are the antithesis of anything of like left-wing culture or
Yes.
whatnot.
Including Black Panther.
Of
This
any
is
culture,
just
to
a
be honest.
massive money grab.
Yep.
And the idea that this is, if there was such a thing of cultural Marxism, the idea that this would be it is just absurd.
We failed.
This is just and then like that fundamental premise is just absolute bunk. And then even if I was to accept his fundamental premise, which is that like the reason why Hollywood makes movies is to change culture overnight. You could just look at other movies that sometimes they do good, sometimes do bad. It doesn't have anything to do with what the content is.
Yeah.
In terms of like these things. It's just absurd. This guy's running such a scam. It's unbelievable.
I mean, Scorsese had the critique of Marvel movies and said that they were more like theme rides than they were actual films. And then Scorsese tries to come out with a movie, right? Like that, challenges Killers of the Flower Moon came out. It didn't do as well as anticipated. But part of that was because like these kinds of movies have had a total chokehold on the movie industry for so long that only someone like Scorsese can get an actually woke movie made.
Alan Moore, creator of The Watchmen, also says the movies are infantile.
So I just wanted to skip ahead for Tim to discuss what superhero movies he actually enjoys and what characters
fair enough.
emulates.
Yes, we should know that.
Oh, he emulates them.
covering the news, pushing back. He's right there along with us. Gen Z. Gen Z is pretty based, by the way, and it really is. I'm not kidding.
Sorry,
they're-
I'm sorry. I know we want to get going, but that's why he talks about this, is because he is chasing an audience of children, and that these search terms are really valuable for attracting an audience.
Yeah, he's referring to
this is
someone.
The only reason.
He's referring to like a Gen Z person he had on the show who was like critical, like similarly critical of like the woke Marvel movie.
I should have
Yeah.
talked about Marvel when I went on there.
Gen Z. Gen Z is pretty based, by the way, and it really is. I'm not kidding.
Like and subscribe.
They're pushing back against woke culture, and I think the Marvels is a good reason why. No. I know. People are like, oh, Brie Larson obsessed. No, hear me out. Captain America, a story of a young man, scrawny, weak, with all sorts of health ailments. But he so desperately believes in what his country stands for. He wants to be something bigger than himself. He wants to be part of something bigger than himself. He so desperately wants to serve his country that he tries lying to get into the military. I'm not kidding. I'm like, when conservatives complain about woke movies like this, I'm like, I agree. Y'all need to do the inverse too and cheer and celebrate for Captain America. Dude, I'm pointing the finger at all the people who are like, superhero movies are dumb, Tim. No way. I want you right now. I want you to get your kids to watch Captain America. And I'll break it down and tell you why. Steve Rogers in this movie, scrawny, weak,
can't believe
gets
this.
beat up in a fight,
Scrawny,
but refuses to back down. Yo, that
That's what it
scene
needs to be
where he's in
about.
the alley and the dude punches him in the face and he's like, I can do this all day. Scrawny, weak guy, but strong-willed. Even though he wasn't the toughest, even though he had health ailments,
Even though he didn't
was
take his beanie off.
Yeah.
that's the message you want kids to have. And he wants to join the military. Not that I think the military is doing all that well today.
Look at my gun and
Point
sword
was,
behind me.
He was
I
patriotic.
could do
He
it
believed in
too.
his country. He believed in family and community. And even though he wasn't the
Wow.
Wow, he like. I wish he just had like, it might be a little bit feel less like punching down if he had 5% more self-awareness, like of why he's so emotionally attached to the scrawny, weak Captain America.
Right.
He leaves out the part that like 30 minutes in he becomes super buff.
Some people
The
lie.
most Jack Eye in the entire. He's a super soldier.
Yeah, and he's like, that could happen to me too.
It's also, I should also say, is very similar to the story of the Bourne Identity as well. We should also say, and just about every other movie of that ilk.
Some people lie to get into the military because they want to help be the best, and some people lie to get attention on YouTube.
Yep.
There you go.
Does anyone have any patience for one more segment, or should we?
I don't think so, but I do like the idea.
He just goes
of,
on to say that all of them are white, and all of a sudden people are making Hispanic superheroes and women
same shit.
superheroes.
Gotcha. But I do like the idea of like you have to cheer Captain America. If there are people in the streets right now protesting the genocide in Gaza, but what the right should be organizing around is how awesome the Captain America movies
Captain
are.
America, based in the Mediterranean, making sure no other countries intervene as Israel shells Gaza.
Yeah, I can get on board.